Back when I first started this game, $100 million was considered an absolutely absurd amount of money for any single person to have, and it meant that you could literally buy everything worth owning and still have a bunch of cash left over. But today, in 2025, it is basically the bare minimum if you want to count yourself as one of the rich guys in GTA Online. A super yacht here, a Luxor Deluxe there, and before you know it, that money will have vanished from your bank account faster than an 80s rock star with a line of coke. Thankfully, Rockstar, as greedy as they are, have also added a bunch of new ways to make money, so while the inflation definitely sucks, it's actually easier to become rich in this game now compared to the old days. And today on the show, I'll be showing you how, as a new player starting at level 1, you too can earn $100 million from scratch without wasting real money on shark cards, so you can buy all your favorite properties and vehicles. It may not be as prestigious as it once was, but being the owner of $100 million in GTA Online still means something, and it's more than sufficient to buy every single business, upgrade, as well as a few luxury items like private jets and yachts on the side. So how long is this going to take? It of course depends on how much time you can invest into GTA 5, but if you follow the methods showcased within this video, you shouldn't need more than a month. If you're not a regular player, it may take you a bit longer, maybe 2 months, but what I can guarantee is that you'll make money much faster than if you go into this without a plan, because how you spend your cash early on in the game and what you spend it on is way more important than you think. In this video, I'll be breaking down the most efficient money-making methods in GTA Online and what you need before you start grinding. As always, time is precious, so without further delay, let's get to the important stuff. Before you begin grinding heists and other businesses, you need to set up a few things, namely weapons and vehicles. Starting with weapons, as a level 1 player, you don't have a lot of cash, but that's fine because Mark 1 weapons are pretty cheap and you can do this entire $100 million run without spending a single cent on Mark 2 upgrades. You'll mainly be grinding PvE content, so you don't have to worry about outplaying other humans and players. As for what weapons you should buy, there are only 3 that you need: an assault shotgun, a combat MG, as well as a heavy sniper. Then, for some extra punch against vehicles, you can also invest in a homing launcher. The RPG is of course going to be more cash efficient because its ammo costs less, but you won't unlock it until much later. And for $75,000, the homing launcher is an excellent way to take down enemy helicopters. And trust me, once you start doing those heists, you'll come up against a lot of perpetually respawning AI helicopters that constantly chase you around the map. And honestly, if you're in need of more weapons, check out my top 15 best weapons video for GTA Online in 2025, where we go into detail on all the best picks. And speaking of those helicopters chasing you, you're also going to need an armored vehicle to soak up all of the incoming gunfire, because NPCs literally teleport into existence out of thin air in this game, and they also have aimbot-like precision, so you won't be able to outrun an army of mercenaries or gang members in a non-armored vehicle. At least not for long, because your tires and windows will be shredded to bits while you're still fumbling around with the weapon wheel, which is why I personally recommend the Duke of Death early on as your primary vehicle for grinding your heists and missions. It's the best early stage armored car in the game, even beating out that armored Kuruma in terms of overall protection, because the Duke can tank an extra RPG and missile while the Kuruma is extremely weak to explosive damage. Plus, the Duke of Death honestly looks better and goes faster in a straight line too, but more importantly, it's free. The Kuruma costs just under 700 grand, and as a new player, you couldn't afford to waste that kind of cash on a car. So open up Warstock Cash and Carry, scroll down until you find the Duke of Death, and click that buy button. It will carry you through the entirety of your $100 million playthrough and will tank anything the NPCs can throw at it. And there's even more free stuff to grab, because Rockstar includes a package called the Criminal Enterprise Starter Pack with every copy of GTA 5. When you boot up the game and load into online for the first time, you'll receive an email from Rockstar containing all of the details of your free goodies. And honestly, it's pretty sweet. You get properties, vehicles, and weapons. Here's a list of all the items. You can pause and read through it if you want, but the ones that are the most relevant to our grind here is the Polito Forest Gun Running Bunker, the Maze Bank West Executive Office, the Great Chaparral Biker Clubhouse, as well as the Sonora Desert Counterfeit Cash Factory. The MC Clubhouse and the Counterfeit Cash Factory are also located pretty close to each other, so you won't have an issue traveling between them. You also need to own an MC club and be an MC president in order to get access to MC businesses like that Cash Factory, the Coca-Cola Lockup, the Math Lab, Grass Farm, etc. So it's nice to see that Rockstar is at least giving you one of these for free. And for the final piece of prep work here, make sure that you're in an invite-only session, at least for the first few days. This way, you'll be able to acclimate yourself to the mechanics of GTA Online, and you can also explore the map without being griefed by other players. Of course, that being said, there are times when you want to be in a public lobby, like if you're doing challenges or trying to score the high demand bonus on certain business sell missions, but it's a much wiser decision to remain in a private lobby, because at least in there, nobody's there to mess with your grind routine, and you can plan everything according to your own schedule. Alright, now with all the legwork done, let's get to the main course of this video, which is the actual money making. For this, you need to invest in businesses because that's the primary way of making money in GTA Online. As a level 1 player, I'd also recommend running G's caches and stash house missions daily, as they provide some quick and easy cash early on. Treasure hunts, races, and time trials are also worth trying out, at least for the first couple days. But once you have your first 100 grand or so, as well as a special carbine plus a combat MG in the weapon wheel, it's time to do some big boy work. The very first thing you should do in terms of big content is the Cluckin farm raid. This is both an underrated as well as highly lucrative way of making money in the game, and it gives you $500,000 every single time you play it, and it only takes about 1 hour. If you practice it a bit, you might even get the completion time down to 45 minutes or so, but even if you go with that hourly rate of $500,000, that's an easy $1 million every single day with a couple of Cluckin raids. There is a cooldown of 1 hour between raids, which then you can use to do other content like payphone hits, first and last dose missions, security contracts, you name it. As a new player, you can expect to receive a call from Vincent Effenberger, a police officer in the game, within the first hour of gameplay. And as soon as you see that yellow V sign appear on your minimap, drive towards it, and that should take you to the Vespucci police station. I find that owning an agency early on really helps grinding the Cluckin farm raid as well, because you can set your agency as your spawn point, and the Vespucci police station is just a couple miles away at most. And when you do the Cluckin farm raid for the first time, there's a few cutscenes to go through and some phone calls that you might want to listen to. You can skip the calls to cut down on completion time, and you can also skip a lot of the traveling time by quitting your current session and loading into a new invite-only session. There's 5 different prep missions for the Cluckin raid, but only 2 of them will make a difference in how the finale goes. When you do the concealed weapons mission, make sure that you select option C for your gear loadout. Option C will take you to an airport in Sandy Shores, which is fairly easy to clear, and you also get the silent shotgun, which means you retain your element of surprise in the finale. Then, when you do the 5th mission, disorganized crime, try to make sure that nobody reports you to the cartel HQ. You'll want a silenced weapon of some kind to take out the guards, and if they do spot you, you still get a minute or so to kill them and delete the CCTV footage. If you do it right, the mission ends with you driving a flatbed truck to Vincent's lockup. And then in the finale itself, you can make things a lot easier by driving out with the getaway vehicle and swapping to your Duke of Death as soon as you get a piece of space between yourself as well as the police. Now, while you're waiting for your Cluckin farm raid to come off cooldown, you should do the first and last dose missions. Those are 6 first dose missions as well as 5 last dose missions, and these will have you running in coalition with a gang of drugged up freaks who call themselves the Fooligans. The story is pretty entertaining as well, if you're into that aspect of GTA Online, but the main reason we're doing these early on is so we can unlock the Acid Lab, which is one of the most solo-friendly businesses in the entire game, and it's a fantastic source of passive income. With this lab fully upgraded, you can expect about $100,000 per hour. If you name your acid product, you get a 5% bonus on top of that, and if you do your cell missions in a public lobby, there's an additional 2.5% bonus for every single player in the lobby, up to 50%. Mind you, this also of course carries more risk, since there's always the chance of you running into some griefer with a Raiju or an Oppressor Mark II who wants to hunt you around the map, but it's worth trying out nevertheless if you want that extra income. Each of the first dose as well as the last dose missions also carry their own cash rewards, and you'll get a total of $500,000 for completing all these. You also unlock that Brigade 6x6 with first dose, as well as the Ocelot Virtue with the last dose, which is one of the best electric hypercars in the game. It can also be further upgraded with Amani Tech, so you can make it remote controllable, or even add an additional missile lock-on jammer to make this already awesome car even better. Now, after you've completed the Los Santos Drug Wars missions, as well as a couple of Cluckin farm raids, you should have at least $2 million in your account. And at this point, you've got to make your choice on your next business. I recommend you either grab an agency or a Kasatka submarine. Both are excellent picks early on, and no matter which one you choose, you'll have enough cash for a new business within a day. If you go with an agency, you get access to 4 different money-making methods. These are payphone hits, security contracts, the Dr. Dre VIP contract, as well as passive income from your office wall safe. You can get $1.1 million from the Dr. Dre mission, which takes about 1.5 to 2 hours for a first-time playthrough, but once you've nailed down the locations of enemies and key items, it can be done in 1.5 hours in an invite-only session with that full $1 million payout at the end. Now, security contracts pay anywhere from $30,000 to $70,000 depending on the tier, and you can expect to do these within 10 minutes. Payphone hits are worth $45,000 if you fulfill the bonus objectives, and these can be done within 5 to 7 minutes at absolute most, but most of the time 2 to 3 minutes. Ideally, you'll want to cycle between payphone hits as well as security contracts while the Dr. Dre mission is on cooldown. Payphone hits have a cooldown of 10 minutes, while security contracts have a 5-minute cooldown, and both of them can be requested from the phone by calling up Franklin. So you don't even need to be physically present at the agency computer in order to initiate this work if you don't want to. Now, after doing a couple of Dr. Dre missions and some security contracts, you should at least have $2.2 million in your bank account, which is exactly how much the Casaca submarine costs. To initiate Cayo Perico, meet up with Miguel Madrazo in the music locker next to the Diamond Casino, and he'll tell you to buy a submarine. Your new shipmate, Pavel, will then walk you through the heist prep process, and if you go with the stealth route, Cayo Perico can be done within an hour, and it pays $1 million on average every single time. It's 100% the most lucrative money grinding method in the entire game, even after all the nerfs, and it's honestly easy to get early on, even if you're a new player. All you need is that $2.2 million, which, as I've already explained, can be done in no time with a few Cluckin farm raids and Dr. Dre missions. Even casual players should be able to buy a Casaca within their first week of playing GTA Online, so in my opinion, there's absolutely no reason to delay purchasing it. Get it ASAP and start grinding out those Cayo Perico heists. With Cayo Perico, the most efficient way to do it is choose the long fin as your approach vehicle and then the underwater drainage gate as your entry point. Once you've secured all the loot, you can simply drop down from the office balcony and head for the main gate. There's a dirt bike parked 100 yards in front of the compound main gate, and you can use it to ride off the nearby cliff. Then just keep swimming through the field of sea mines and you'll have escaped from the island. I've already done a guide on how to complete Cayo Perico and earn lots of money, and it will be linked in this video, so feel free to check it out after you're done watching. Now at this point, you should also set up your MC Club as well as bunker that you got for free with the Criminal Enterprises starter pack. The bunker in Polito Forest isn't the best location because you waste so much time traveling back and forth for sale missions, but you can trade it in for a better location later on in the game when you have more money. Also, if you own an agency, you can get a fast travel feature that takes you straight to Polito Bay from where the free bunker can be accessed much faster. And so there you go. That's another great reason to own an agency. You'll also need it for Imani Tech upgrades, although these upgrades aren't really necessary if you're grinding PvE content. I also suggest upgrading your staff and equipment, both in the bunker as well as your MC businesses that you own, to boost productivity and improve your payout per hour. After you own at least a couple MC businesses, the next must-buy item is a nightclub. It's simply the best source of passive income in the game, and through the nightclub warehouse, you can assign technicians to each of your businesses who will source product for you in the background. Once you have a full warehouse, you can take the Pounder Custom out for a delivery mission and make tons of money that way. The next business you should buy after a nightclub is the new Darnell Brothers Garment Factory, which was just added to the game this last December through the Agents of Sabotage DLC update. And with this business, you can do FIB missions that pay $200,000 for the regular ones and $450,000 for the weekly special sometimes. You only get a roster of 4 missions, so I wouldn't suggest grinding these all the time, but the Garment Factory missions do serve as an excellent way to break up the time between your Cayo Perico and Dr. Dre heist runs. If you want to do more heist content, you can buy an arcade. It is a pretty mediocre business by itself, but the Diamond Casino heist that it unlocks is right up there alongside Cayo Perico, and it's also one of the best money makers in the entire game, albeit the finale isn't soloable. You do need at least one extra player with you. Also, with this, you do get the master control terminal that lets you control resupplies for all your businesses from one location, so you don't have to waste time traveling back and forth. But now that Rockstar added the master control terminal into the Terabyte as an upgrade, you can just do that as well. Overall, that's a huge boost to your grinder routine, and I'd also suggest getting the arcade for that reason alone. Or, of course, like I said, you can buy that Terabyte and upgrade it in the Darnell Bros Garment Factory garage with that master control terminal, because that's going to do the same thing as the one in the arcade. Only this one is mobile, and it can be taken anywhere. The auto shop is also 100% worth purchasing at this stage as well, especially if you like to tinker around with cars and buy a bunch of fast rides, because it unlocks every single vehicle upgrade, irrespective of how many races you've won and what your rank is within the game. You can also make some pretty decent cash in the auto shop through auto shop contracts. The best one is going to be Union Depository, which can be done in less than 30 minutes, and it pays $300,000 every time you do it. Now, if you purchase the businesses I listed in the order I mentioned within this video, you should be easily able to grind $20 or $30 million within your first week of playing. Also, make sure to pick up the Sparrow helicopter for your Casaca, and that'll ease up the heist prep for Cayo Perico as well as overall money grinding. And I'd also suggest buying an Oppressor Mark II so you can fly around the map really fast while also packing insane amounts of offensive capability. The businesses that you should definitely stay away from early on are the Arena Workshop, the Document Forgery Office, and the Bail Office. I also don't really recommend wasting money on a facility or even high-end apartments, because you'll have plenty of accommodation options with the agency, Casaca, your MC Club, etc. And for early on in the game, you definitely won't run out of garage space anytime soon, even if you buy those 5 or 6 necessary vehicles like I talked about. Later on, once you have $100+ million, go all out and buy all the luxury apartments you want or need. buy the hangar, get extra garage space that you want for your super expensive cars and aircraft, but you don't need it super early on just yet. And to close things off, I just want to say that while making lots of money is great, and of course it affords you the ability to buy whatever you want in GTA Online, it can also trap you in this monotonous grind routine that takes all the enjoyment away from the game. So while our goal with today's video and with this guide is to make $100 million as fast as possible, you don't have to sacrifice content variety for it. If you just grind Cayo Perico twice a day, 30 days in a row, sure, you're going to be absolutely filthy rich, but you'll also suck all the joy out of this game and probably miss out on some of the more interesting pieces of content that GTA 5 Online has to offer. So go ahead and explore and play some other stuff. Play the Dr. Dre contract, play through security contracts, do some bunker cell missions. Even though the MC businesses absolutely suck for making money without the nightclub, you can try running some of those. Do the garment factory missions. The key here is to mix them all together so you have zero downtime between heists and other content, but you also want to prioritize the high efficiency activities that pay well for the amount of time you spend on them. This game is a delicate balancing act between missions that are fun and also missions that pay well. So choose wisely and you will make tons of money. That's all I have for today's video. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, check out my GTA 5 online live streams on twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv, and if you're new to the game, maybe this GTA Online beginner's guide will also help you out in getting started. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next GTA 5 online video. Adios, amigos.